All right, here's a cup by cup by cup comparison. Obviously, the Davis Cup has the history and the heritage, but the two new competitions have turned some heads and gotten a lot of player and fan buy-in, despite being new on the scene. And so as you digest all that data, we come back here on TC Live, and I pose the vexing questions of the sport to Martina and John. How do we solve, you guys, the glut of cups? Look at that.
You know, we worked so hard to shorten the season because we had too many tournaments playing well into November, so we shortened it, and now we're adding cups. And the cups are, for some players, great opportunity to make money, etc., play for their country. But for the top players, how much energy do you have for the year? And now they're supplanting tournaments where we had the tournaments leading up to the Australian Open. Now we have the ATP Cup. The women's tournaments are taking a second seed, which is another issue as well. But overall, I think it's just too much emotional energy. Never mind the physical stuff.
All right, here you go. Very simple.
Yeah.
We're going to combine men's and women's events. We all agree that tennis is at its best when it's two genders. We're going to alternate years. We're going to have Davis Cup 1 year every other year, ATP Cup the other year. It's not that complicated. We'll include women. Rafa and Novak, interestingly, both of them independently and with very little provocation have both spoken this week at great lengths about how silly this all is, how confusing it is for the casual fan. Sometimes tennis reminds me of those farmers that sort of pray for rain when there's a drought, and then all of a sudden the monsoon comes and all their crops
Too much
get
rain.
Exactly. This is too much of a good thing.
Yep.
It's actually pretty easy to solve, I think.
Now, Tennis Australia says that they are looking into and hope to have a women's companion event to the ATP Cup next year, presumably the WTA Cup or something like that. We had the Hopman Cup, which had men and women combined, and everybody loved that. Why couldn't we have? I mean, is that too much of a political pipe dream to come up with that?
You saw the prize money graphic. I mean, there are sponsors and sources of revenue that are incentivizing certain players and not others. But I think this is in all the tennis's deals, I think it's a pretty easy fix.
If it ain't broke. I mean, I think they found a good balance, and then they mess it up the next year. So, I mean, it's a great event for the spectators, great event for TV. It's a moneymaker, which is why they have it.
Right.
But for the sport in itself, it doesn't make sense.
Occam's razor. We got to simplify things here, guys.
All right, here's hoping that the powers that be in the sport can come up with a solution to the cup issue.